Hello. Good. Mars didn't change her outfit either. It wasn't just me.
Oh, crud.
Yay,
I
no, we're in this
supposed to do
together.
that. No, I'm changing it right now.
Yeah, I'm also changing it right now, but I mean that we're both late together.
Woo, and we had all that time. We fail
I was
epically.
eating candy. Candy's more important.
I was also eating candy. What kind of candy did you get?
I have the same candy we ate on Tuesday. The rainbow.
Oh,
Bells.
very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I
Don't call HR.
I got some keeping up M&Ms and a candy bar. Aha, there we go.
Did you hear about the purple M&M?
It depends. What happened?
Well, they made a purple M&M mascot to mascot the cold brew M&Ms, caramel cold brew M&Ms, which honestly,
Is that what the new flavor is?
yeah, that's apparently what the new flavor is. And however,
Okay.
they refuse to put actual purple colored M&Ms in the bag.
What's the friggin' point?
This is what I'm saying. Screw them then.
That doesn't make.
Don't give me another
sense.
mascot then.
Why would you give me another mascot to be hyped over? If
Oh, so close,
you
PCM.
don't use them. Makes no sense. Makes no goddamn sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Ah,
We might
Well,
even get to use your points on something else, PCM, if you win the raffle. Who knows?
well, you know, over the years, they've done a good job coming out with different characters, pacing themselves, not rushing it. But I think they might have jumped too far ahead on this one. How's that for a segue?
I'm not sure what that saying is supposed to mean, though, Jamie. But yes, Mars got the segue this time. The phrasing of the statement, Jamie, is I'm not sure. I don't fuck with the M&Ms. I don't fuck the M&Ms.
Jamie, I am concerned. I am very concerned.
I see, PCM.
Jamie, please elaborate on the M&Ms. Meanwhile,
How many points you got, Oscar? Do exclamation points.
Yes, and you can find out like this. Points.
Oh, I see. I see.
How the hell did I
Oscar
get
has-
number 1?
I don't. Because Johnham hasn't been in chat for a while. He hasn't been gathering them up.
That's
One
true.
second.
Oh,
I see.
Feels
I
like
see, Jamie.
forever. What can I say, PCM? Noop is just so likable. Everyone wants a piece of her.
Needed a lot more points for that than Oscar.
Indeed.
So pace yourself with getting those points.
And the segue went back to you.
And the double segue.
Yes. Oh,
Into
2 for the
pacing.
price of 1. We're on a roll tonight.
Oh yeah. Better than being on a bagel. I'll fall right through the middle.
Indeed, indeed. Also, remind me to use that one. That's brilliant.
That's a my math teacher one.
I was gonna say it's either a dad joke or Dylan has said it.
My math teacher through almost all of high school, everything but 9th grade, so 10th, 11th, 12th. He was a fantastic man. And I have a lot of his things, so I call them Casconiisms.
Incredible.
It's beautiful. He's probably my favorite teacher ever.
Amazing.
How many holes are in a mug? 1.
Oh,
two!
you're trying to like
2!
popcorn?
Fuck, he got me 2! It's 2! No! Because of the handle!
what?
A mug has 2 holes because of the handle.
Ooh. Oh, that's true. Ouch.
No. It's the handle, Jamie. You tried to trick me. The
what
handle
about
is a hole too.
What about the opening? Does that count as a hole?
That's the hole. That's the first hole. And the
Okay.
handle's the second hole.
Okay.
How is the other one? How is the handle hole not a hole, Jamie? Hello, bucket of milk.
Yeah, that's a hole in the handle.
That's a hole.
Hey, bucket of milk. Thanks for coming back.
Oh, you're talking about because it's sideways? Sure. If I buried it in the ground, all right, fine.
All right.
But
We'll give you that. I'm gonna take another piece of
it's all
chocolate.
right. You're so wrong. The handle is the only hole? Then how do we have holes in the ground, Jamie?
I don't know if I agree with
I
that.
disagree with this statement. How do we have
do
holes
disagree.
in the ground? You can't have bottomless holes in the ground, but that is where the hole came from.
The top of the cup definitely counts as a hole.
The top of the cup has to be a hole if I can dig a hole in the ground. If you're trying to tell me that a hole I dig in the ground is not a hole, then we have a whole different conversation to talk about.
Jamie, you're getting Nori going.
Yeah, but then
this is not a battle you want to fight.
Mathematically, there's no holes in the earth ever. I can't physically dig a hole then, Jamie.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I don't know how to tell you. But
Oof.
then, but
You'll just have to break it to her, Oscar.
Okay, now we have to get into the definition of holes. Because when
Fucking milk. I was thinking the same thing because I'm thinking it's like the how many holes are in a shirt question. Like it's a trick question. There's more than you think.
You're trying to go with the holes in the straw. I think Jamie will fully agree with me that there's only one goddamn hole in a straw. I don't know. When I look up the definition of hole, Jamie, it is not giving me a mathematical or scientific definition. Thus, your question doesn't work unless you specify further.
All right. A hole is a hollow place in a solid body or surface.
It shows a golf hole, like a hole-in-one golf hole, as a hole. That has a bottom in it.
Which is a cup. Technically speaking.
Into my examiner? I didn't. I didn't realize I was in science class.
We didn't know there would be a test tonight.
There is only one hole in a straw. Yeah, I also feel like Swiss cheese. Okay, we're done with the holes. We need to pace ourselves on how much time we can spend on this whole question, and I have paced it out.
Indeed.
So,
now we only have an hour to discuss pacing.
Onto pacing when it
And
comes to writing.
Yes. Well, there are some people out there who would say an hour is not enough time to discuss the intricacies of pacing.
There's not enough time to discuss most things.
Do it well enough, we pace ourselves. We should be able to get through it. All right.
We're going ham tonight.
Segues. Oh yeah. No, we're. Brain is cheese. Brain has zombies on the brain. So.
No, you're gonna segue back to the holes. This is not good.
I'm not segueing back to holes.
You said your brain was cheese, Mars. You're slow.
Shit. Moving on. Moving on. Anyway, pacing. So. What is pacing? Well, pacing, to break it down, is how fast or how slow you are telling your story. This can be across any medium. Our particular medium is a comic format, but pacing is in books, it's in TV shows, it's in movies. Pretty much anywhere you have a story, there's going to be some form of pacing. Now, what's interesting for many writers is they come across that age-old question of how should I pace my story? When should certain events happen in order to keep the story moving forward? Because it's a double-edged sword there. Not only do you want to progress the story, you want to maintain audience interest and investment. If your plot is going a little too slow, it's very easy for people to fall off your story or stop reading it. Whereas if you're going too fast, the reader may feel like they're being bombarded with information faster than they can process. Neither is ideal. So how do we achieve that balance? Well, I could certainly tell you about times where I've struggled with pacing in regards to Outcaste. This is actually pretty interesting because, as we mentioned a couple times on here, we actually had a different first episode than the one that is currently up on Webtoon and all the other places we post.
That currently exists that you can read.
It does exist. It does exist. But what's interesting about it, so when Ori and I first started this comic, I was very excited to work on it. Maybe a little too eager. And I remember one business meeting we had where we were trying to hash out the plot. And I was basically going, well, then this needs to happen, then this needs to happen, then this needs to happen. And Dory had to remind me, well, not everything needs to happen back to back. It's not like a groundbreaking reveal has to happen each and every entry. So from that, I realized
I think I would die.
Well, yeah. That's another part of pacing. You have to make sure you're not killing your animators. I think a couple studios missed that lesson, but that's neither here nor there. But it's definitely a balance that you have to strike, because you want time for the characters to be characters. You want time for them to explore their personality, show off who they are, help the audience endear themselves to them. But you also want to keep things moving forward. You don't want things to feel stagnant. You don't want them to feel like filler. And I know I keep asking this question, how do you do that? And I gotta be honest, I am still trying to figure out the answer to that, because I'm not sure if there's any one right way to do it. It's really interesting because, at least when it comes to writing Outcaste, and this is something I have noticed with myself, the pacing happens pretty naturally, at least now. And I think that comes from working on it for a while. We started writing this comic back in 2020. And since then, I've had a chance to be acquainted with these characters, figure out how they'd react in each situation. And through that, you kind of figure out, well, how would these story beats unfold? Well, it can certainly help. Like, let's say you have a character who's really observant. Well, they're definitely going to notice something a lot sooner than the other characters. And you can use that to your advantage. You could use that character to move that bit of the story forward. Sometimes characters' personalities can help with the pacing, depending on what they know, how much they know, and when they know it. And that'll help maintain that sense of momentum. If anyone has any questions they'd like to ask about this, please feel free. I know I'm kind of rambling here, but you could jump in at any time. Ori, that includes you as well.
So I have just more of an interesting sort of thing is the idea you talk about, like, not everything happening at once, right at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of like an interesting way to put it, because we definitely have very large story beats, right? Things that are getting built up to, reveals, like Mara said, and all this sort of stuff. But it is still very important that something does happen in every entry of a webcomic, let's say, because the whole point is that we have to keep people coming back, right? We need to keep those questions unanswered.
I'm talking about.
I had recently listened to someone review sort of just, usually they like pet peeves about, webcomics and stuff like that. And one of the interesting things was that a very renowned webcomic, to be honest, I don't know what it's called. The names I always sort of just blank out, and I just sort of like take the information. But the point is that they would always have, it's something with a vampire, and the vampire is very, very good at her like abilities. Like, she's very strong. And it's constantly, there's like this really big threat, and then it's like she beats it in like the next two entries. So there's not this sort of looming desire to solve things or figure things out or something like this. So it's sort of like when it happens too fast, you're not invested in the story because you need. But now there's a difference between, resolving too fast and just stagnating. Right.
And dragging
on. So there's this sort of weird balance, and I think it's very different for writing a novel for writing even an actual, like, a graphic novel or like a manga book as there is in webcomics, because you have to take into account the idea that you're reading this piece by piece, right? In a book, it's okay to be kind of, you know, have like a lull at the beginning, or even in an actual physical comic, you know, like a graphic novel or a manga that has a lot of content, because this person knows that they can get to the good stuff, right? Like, they will read it because it's right there.
And that's certainly something to keep in mind, for sure. Every medium has its advantages and disadvantages, especially when it comes to pacing. I mean, like you said, with novels, sometimes you can take your time a little bit more because it's all there. It's all in one book. You can read it at your own pace, actually.
Exactly.
Someone might go slower, someone might go faster, depending on how much they want to read, how invested they are, or even just how quickly they're able to read through something. But with a comic like ours, which comes out on a bi-weekly basis, you know, like you said, coming out bit by bit, it's both an advantage in the sense that we're allowing ourselves time to work on it and really perfect it before it's released. But it's also a disadvantage because every week we have to make sure, like, there's something in here to keep people invested. And that was definitely something that I don't think it was something I had to figure out per se, because the way we do it is essentially, here's a scene and here's the entries it's going to happen across. Now it's a scene broken up into chunks. And sometimes it does happen where there is an entire entry that's just a little bit slower than the others. The way Ori and I personally like to tell our stories, we love our foreshadowing. We love our hints at something bigger, or hints at something that's going to happen. Oh yeah, we went ham. Every business meeting is an absolute delight.
We just talked about, like, the final bit of the season in our business meeting, and it honestly changed
wonderful.
very far from what we sort of had originally thought. Yeah. And that's kind of the benefit of
it. All fell into place too, which is so nice.
So beautiful.
But yeah, it does happen where I have ended up with an entry where it's like, okay, not too much is happening here per se. Like, it's just Hotsun working up the courage to go to the fire, and then Milano calls him over and he goes over to the fire. Not exactly exciting, but what is in there is Hotsun's reactions, Milano's easygoing nature inviting him over, Hotsun surveying the campfire with all the other callers around him. Those are the little bits and pieces in there. They're not groundbreaking. They're not shaking up the status quo. They're not big twists. They're just little character moments here and there that are hinting at a bigger picture or giving you a more complete picture of the main character. So while, yes, it does end up being a slower episode, there is still something there for the audience to get invested in.
And I think that's an interesting sort of thing to mention, because I also think that depending on who you are, as well as like a consumer of a story, you can see things happening differently. And a very interesting example is, I'm gonna say mild, incredibly mild Mandalorian Season 3 spoilers, because I have only seen the first episode, and to be honest, there's not really like huge spoilers in it, in my opinion, but I will be talking about it. So if you're really on edge about that, I'll put a message in the chat when I'm done talking about it. But we saw the first episode.
How kind of you. Ori.
And Dylan and I saw the first episode, and when we were done, Dylan was kind of sad. He was like, wow, that's it? Like, nothing happened. And then after sort of talking about it, like actually going through what happened in the episode, it was like, no, there was things that happened, but it wasn't what you wanted to happen, I guess is the example, right? It wasn't, it sort of felt kind of questy, kind of side questy vibes, which it definitely was, but it was like, it set up the story. There was multiple fight scenes. There were like a lot of these sort of threads that are like, obviously these are going to come into play later. Like all these very interesting things that happen. And he just sort of like was like, oh yeah, no, I guess stuff did happen. So it's a very interesting sort of thing that like when it focuses on a certain part at the end, which is what it did, to set up essentially the rest of the series, or the main arc of the series. And it would, you know, it did something. It set up these questions on what's going to happen and where's it going to go.
Very important.
And there was action too. It wasn't like they gave no action. But it just wasn't what he was necessarily looking for. Another example was he read, I think it was the 4th upload of Outcaste, where Hotsun sees the treehouse for the first time. That is the thing that happens, right? So
Yes.
it's like, that is the point of that. That's what happened in that one. It means that something happened. Now, is it relatively nonchalant? Yeah, there's no action, there's no big reveal, there's no whatever, but the whole point is that, look at this treehouse, right? Like something happens.
Well, the whole point is, look at this treehouse. This is where they were living the whole time on the other side of the island. Wow, who could have built this treehouse? Who had the ingenuity
What's it
to
look
design
like
something
inside?
like this?
You know, all these sort of questions.
It's supposed to trigger the audience's curiosity. And even if you don't get as far as that, even if you just get a reader who goes, oh, wow, that's cool, you've still succeeded in that sense. Because whether it's you've got them thinking about the mystery of the treehouse, or you just have them thinking, that's really neat, you've still got investment. You've still got engagement from your audience.
And the idea is that there's movement, right? The two things that you see a lot is that either in our comic, either they move places or the thing that is happening changes. So a good example is the one...
There is usually a change in location. Unless it's something like downtime, where they're literally sitting around the campfire just chatting with each other. I have gone over almost every entry. There is constant movement. They are walking somewhere. They are doing something. They are moving in some way. Like, rarely are these characters physically stagnant.
And even when they don't move locations, the idea is like, so in the most recent upload of last week, it is that we sort of got that movement that it shows that Milano's not great at maps and Hotsun is, and he's going to help them in some way with their intruder problem. That is movement, right, of the story now. We still haven't found the intruder, but that's like a step forward.
It's a step in the direction.
So even though they're not moving from that location of being in the treehouse, they are moving the story along. New things are happening, right? It's not just, oh god, where's the intruder? Can't find the intruder, and then they, you know, and that's it. That would be bad pacing.
See, that comes to another point. Is in the example of the webtoon you mentioned earlier, Ori, when the main character is like fighting these big bads and it like ends after 2 episodes, there don't have to be big developments in every single entry. Yeah, there are arcs here and there, but you can take time to resolve them. You can let your audience sit with them and think about like, whoa, what ramifications will this have on the world, the characters?
Well, that seemed to be the big...
If you don't have time to appreciate that...
stink about it.
Then what's the point, in my opinion, honestly?
No, 100%. Mars and I really like mystery. We play Ace Attorney for a reason. We watch detective anime for a reason. One of my favorite... Okay, if you guys have not looked up the song Detective Detective by Static P, you need to listen to it. It's freaking like old as shit, but I love it so much. And it's like a whole series, but honestly I love that specific one. The chase one at the end is also really good, but I love that specific song. It is literally
so good. I downloaded it to my phone a month ago. It's brilliant.
Every once in a while I just turn it on. I'm just like, jamming here.
I vibe.
There's a reason that Mars and I are already talking about, 10 years down the line, our next comic will be detectives.
Yes. Detective base. Maybe detectives in space. Who knows?
Well, no, I don't want detectives in space. I don't want to draw space. Don't make me draw space.
Ori, why would you close yourself off to the possibilities? Also, space.
I don't want to draw electronics that
stars.
much.
All right, you won't. You won't.
But
we won't make you do space.
Thank you.
No problem.
What was I gonna say?
I don't know. I'm not in your head.
No one said Among Us, Oscar. We said space.
No one said Among Us, Oscar. But if you have a question about the comic or about pacing or really
writing,
any other topic
art,
in
sort
relation
of anything
to writing,
that you have
art,
a question about,
please feel free.
I did have a question and then I forgot it.
Oh,
Do you think that how pacing works, sort of changes depending on the kind of story you're telling? Right? Our story is very specifically character-driven.
Absolutely. Pacing absolutely changes depending on what kind of story you're doing. If you're doing something kind of maybe comedy based, like originally our comic was going to be like kind of buddy, just like how am I going to survive this idiot type of vibe.
Yeah.
And eventually we moved away from that.
Because we knew that wasn't our vibes as much.
Well, it is our vibe, but we enjoy watching that vibe more than we do writing it. Originally, when I wrote that, the first couple of entries had a little more of a fast-paced humor. There was a quip every couple seconds, and that does change the flow of everything. Now you're moving very quickly from panel to panel to get the joke. You're not really lingering on anything to think about any of the dialogue because it's all one big joke. There's nothing super deep or meaningful happening there. When we changed to a character-driven drama for our series, that's when the pacing slowed down a little bit. Now readers are paying more attention to the speech bubbles because there's some clues in there. There's important dialogue. There's allusions to characters' backstories in there. So it's interesting because in that sense, the genre almost controls how the reader paces themselves.
No worries,
At
Oscar.
least that's what I find. Oh, don't worry, Oscar.
We appreciate you doing all the effort to, translate. And of course, if you have any questions about what we said, how we said it, you can ask as well.
No, I'm more than happy to either elaborate or rephrase something if it's confusing. I know I definitely have my Marsisms that can be a little confusing to some people. But what was I saying? Oh, so yeah. So sometimes, at least I find in my case, like if I'm reading something that's comedy based, I gotta be honest, I'm scrolling through that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I'm not really lingering on the pages, and most of the time, the artwork, for as good as it is, I'm not lingering on that because it's usually a more I can't say that word for some reason, simplified, minimalistic style. So there's not really any reason to spend time. You're just kind of there for a quick laugh. Whereas with something that's a little more focused on the drama, I do pay more attention to the panels because not only am I reading longer bits of dialogue that carry more weight story-wise, now my eye is being drawn to what's in the panel. So I spend longer looking at it. Now I'm kind of going through the comic a little bit slower just because of how it's set up is controlling how I read it. I don't know if you've come across that, Ori. Do you find yourself feeding through something that's a little more like comedically based or slice of life than you do dramas, or do you find you kind of go the same speed for everything?
I would say definitely it's a different speed, and I think that's also in like when you look at the art styles that are given to those different, you think of what are the comic, art styles. You think of like Odd Ones Out is an older one before you became like mostly animated, but you think about that. You think about like Sarah's doodles, and and like all those other ones, even Wawa Weewa, like they're very simple. Some of them don't even have any background. Some, they're not meant to be that. They're meant to be there for the visual part of the gag needed, right? Like that is what their thing is. So the ones before the actual visual gag part are kind of less important and just sort of to draw you in. So the people who make these, sort of, comedic comics, these like comic strips, one a day sort of ones, they sort of go into it knowing that you're not spending all this time on their piece. You're not spending all this time looking at the art. That's not what the important part, except for the part that is the comedic gag. And versus when you go into and you start looking at the story-driven comics, they are just a lot more detailed. There is just usually a lot more sort of effort put into them. So whether or not you necessarily think about it that hard, you try that hard to just speed through it or not, it's sort of just built in on how it's made.
Yeah, and that's the pattern I keep finding as well. So when we switch to, like, it's interesting with that first entry, and I know you were just starting out as well, but certainly our backgrounds got more detailed, our characters got more detailed once we made that switch. Well,
I promise I was just bad at backgrounds. It's really bad. The first one is like drawn with crayon. I can't even. I'm so glad.
No, it isn't.
There's a reason, Mars. There is a reason I had to redo the first two after that. It was pain. Okay, I had pain.
Glad you're enjoying, Jamie. This is what we live for.
That's how it works, And eventually, you guys get us off on a tangent because that's also how life works.
Oh yeah. It happens. We're susceptible. We certainly are.
You ain't immune. Oh no.
But sometimes the pacing was very easy for me, particularly with the hangout segments, because essentially there is a formula that happens with each hangout. Hotsun has to work with a crew member. He's not super on board. He says something he's not supposed to. And there's some kind of fallout.
Man, that boy is just perpetually with his foot in his mouth.
Oh, he's always got his foot in his mouth. My poor Hotsun. But what made that easy is I had a very specific, essentially, roadmap for how each hangout was supposed to go, because it was the same thing over and over, essentially. Now, what makes it different is that each character is unique, and how each character responds to Hotsun, how they react to Hotsun's presence is different. And that reaction can also determine, well, how quick is this hangout going to be? Sinnit and Ferrix probably have the longest hangout out of all of them. I think Sinnit actually has the longer entry, if I remember correctly, because
Ferrix is longer than Sinnit. It goes in order of how they go. It gets longer every time.
Oh, okay. Wow, I really went off on that Ferrix one.
It was Aster was pretty short. Sinnit is getting there, and Ferrix is like, I'm there. Wow. Damn.
Well, see, that is definitely an instance of where the characters control the pacing, because Aster, he's very stoic. He doesn't say very many words, so he's not someone who would engage Hotsun in long conversations. There's no reason to focus on anything like that because it would be very out of character. Now, while there is some focus on the awkward silence between the two of them, it's not panels and panels and panels of that. That would be too much. It's like we already get the point with just one or two panels of maybe a quick eye dart or a fidget or something along those lines. We don't need panels and panels and panels of it. Now, we get to Sinnit's hangout, and Sinnit is a talker. His sentence length is a lot longer, actually, than most of the others, because that's just how he speaks. He does use many words to say few things. But he also connects with Hotsun on a different level that the other crew members cannot. So they do spend some time bonding over that. And once that happens, then we have Hotsun put his foot in his mouth. So there's a little bit now more of a setup. Oh, yes. He is wont to do. Just for a couple more entries. He's almost at the entry where he doesn't do that. He's learning. That's an important thing we want to showcase in our comic, is that people can learn, people can change, and people can grow if they're open to doing so. They have to be open to doing so.
That's why we have multiple characters. All right.
Exactly. So, yeah, it can certainly happen where the characters help control the pacing. There's also, and this is a topic I find very interesting, because what also determines pacing is how much you choose to show. Because depending on how much you choose to show determines how long a scene is. For example, let's say your character gets up in the morning. You show them going through their morning routine. They're getting cereal, they're brushing their teeth, they're throwing their homework in their bag, they're running out the door. You cut to them waiting at the bus stop. Okay, we got an idea of what that character is like. You know, they're rushing around, maybe they're a little disorganized. It's a decent setup. You could also do the same scene as character wakes up, looks at alarm clock. We see a rush of paper followed by a smoke trail, and then we cut to them at the bus stop. Same idea, went a lot quicker, but you didn't show as many details as you did the first time. And that's always a question you want to ask yourself, is what details do the audience need in order to understand the point I'm trying to make in this scene? There was actually an example with this in actually our Monday meeting, where I was writing a scene with the crew on the ship, and they're going somewhere. They're going to port. Now, Hotsun, once again, put his foot in his mouth, and he's becoming a little more aware of that. So he fell silent on that one. And I had written the scene where they arrived. Milano had a bit of an exchange with another. But then I wasn't sure if I should show them walking the gangplank, or if I should just cut to them standing on the docks waiting to enter town. Now, the reason this is so important is because Milano and co. don't use a gangplank to get onto their ship. They don't need to. They have animal attributes that allow them to not have to do that, whereas Hotsun doesn't exactly have that luxury. In the original scene I had written, Ferrix is teasing Hotsun about this, and then Milano in the background asked one of the people on port if they have a gangplank they could borrow. Whereas with the rewritten scene, or what might have been the rewritten scene, because I ended up not using it, and you'll see why in a moment. In the rewritten scene, they just ended up on the dock. Cut, no talk of the gangplank, no Milano calling out for the gangplank, no teasing from Ferrix, none of it. Just quick cut. And then I realized, even though it's longer, something is lost when you remove that bit from the scene. You miss out on the dynamic between Ferrix and Hotsun, which has been previously established. Although the first interaction was a bit more hostile, now it's turned into kind of like a brotherly teasing. And that's just Ferrix's personality. So this kind of perpetuates this. This is just how they interact, and this is how they're going to interact for a little bit. But then you'd also lose that moment of Milano overhearing what's going on and just asking, hey, do you have a gangplank you can lend us? Like, he's not even asking Hotsun, like, hey, don't worry, I'll get one for you. He overhears and says, hey, do you have one we could borrow? This is establishing something about Milano's character. He's observant to a degree. Considerate, very important. But he also pays attention to the things his friends need, or the people he considers friends to need. And that's something very important to his character. So even though it did end up being longer, it ended up.
I'm
Jamie.
sorry, I'm dying about. If
It's
anyone
good.
wrote a fanfic, I would literally die of happiness. I honestly don't. As long as it's not all just someone brutally murdering them, I would be pretty happy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I would go crazy if someone wrote a fanfic. But
Okay, I saw how
now to make
Mars
a very long
went
tangent short,
when I
something
made
would be
short-haired Milano, and I can
Oh
only
my
imagine the additional about that. There are no Hotes
there
and
are
Milano
none.
fanfic. Well,
Oscar. There are none yet.
is the Band-Aid a Hotes and Milano fanfic?
Well, technically, yes, they are together
about
in
it.
that one.
Well, they get together in that one in the end. That's
Well,
the
in that
goal.
one, they do get
Yeah.
together.
The
Which
noises-
noise?
Oh,
I
no,
made
the
a
one about
ton.
short-haired Milano. I'll show short-haired Milano.
Oh, short hair Milano?
So that
I literally just no, Ori. When I sent you the all caps, like every word smushed together, that was not exaggeration. When you sent me that picture, I literally this morning went short hair Milano, short hair Milano, short hair Milano. My family thought I was nuts.
I mean, he's very hot. Like nobody can deny.
He is incredibly hot. He's also wearing
Even Dylan
Wolfwood's
said he was
clothes,
hot. Okay.
who is also very hot. So it's just a match made in
The
heaven.
amount of
like,
Wolfwood's like
and
smirks
me.
I had to go through. Here's
my
short-haired
God.
Milano.
The Wolfwood smirks are amazing.
He's very good looking. You can't deny.
My
Can't
God.
deny. Look at this man.
My
He is
God.
a man. look at this
You're
snack.
killing me, Ori.
It's a snack. Look at it. See, Jamie, everybody made the noise. Look at him.
Hey,
He's getting
Are you going to blame me for making the noise?
he's
I
getting
adore Wolfwood. I
the
adore
fucking
Milano.
likes
I
on the
died when I
Instagram.
saw this
the
and
sexy
ascended
man.
into heaven.
This is the main. This is one of the two characters, like second main of the comic.
She did do it with long hair too.
Oh yes, it is there. This is how he looks normally with long hair.
I got her obsessed with Vash the Stampede, and
Yeah,
I'm
it's all
so
Mars'
proud
fault.
of
Blame Mars for
myself.
my problem. It's her
I'm
problem.
So damn
She made it
proud
my
of
problem.
myself.
Yeah,
Baby.
I had very interesting thoughts about everybody's orientations in the kitchen this morning during treatment. Very
I'm
interesting
sorry?
time. But yeah, we could go into that another time. But
It's amazing.
show.
If you guys haven't watched Trigun Stampede 2023, please do. It's
very
amazing.
good. But I'm gonna take this opportunity. Mars, you think of anything else you want to say? Because Bucket and
Oh,
Milk
totally.
hasn't seen all the boys or the comic.
Yes.
So
I'll help you introduce the boys.
we will introduce the boys as I get.
Well,
them
Oscar, you got the powers of Cthulhu on your side. I'm sure a bucket of cold water is nothing to you. You just blink and one appears.
Alrighty, where's my? We'll start with main character boy.
Always important.
So this is Hotson. He's the main character of our comic. If you want to read the comic, you really should, please. I'd love you forever.
Yes. On Webtoon, Global
Webtoon,
Comics, and
Global Comics,
Tapas.
and Tapas.
We
You can
also upload to Insta as
and-
well on
and
Ori's
Tumblr.
account.
As well. But yes.
Oh no!
Oh, you're not a water bird, Jamie. You don't got them good oils. But yeah, this is Hotson. He's the main character.
This is our main character.
He's a researcher. He gets stranded on the island, and that's where all of this starts.
Completely
because of
through
him.
his own fault.
Yeah, it was all his fault.
He is not good at survival.
Then this is the character we just showed you. Not built like Aster. Not everybody can be built like Aster. This is Milano. All of this art is 2 years old at this point.
It's a very
so
high standard
warning.
to reach.
But
Yes. This is Milano. He is known as the Devourer of the Seas. Goes by Captain Milano. He leads a group of other pirates called Callers, which are half human, half animal hybrids. And that's what our series focuses on.
And then we have, of course, he has a crew.
Yes, get those 3 boys out here.
So we have his main second. His first mate is Ferrix. He is a carpenter that likes to hang around the trees.
He's based on the fossa found on Madagascar.
Yes.
Milano was based off the black caiman.
It's very soon, literally this week, Oscar.
It's this week, Oscar.
It's this week. So Monday.
You will meet
and you've
crew.
seen Ferrix before, Oscar. Don't even trip.
Definitely have.
Don't even trip. I'm freaking drawing Ferrix right now. What do you see? Freaking spoilers.
It's not spoilers. Knowing the characters is not spoilers.
I don't think that's spoilers. Yeah, you're okay. It'll be a while then for the Spanish releases.
Maybe it is a military ship. There is a story about how he acquired it and how it became his ship. We're gonna save that, but for now you can know that it is a military ship.
It's military. It's more of like a scouting. It does have cannons, but only 4. It's 4 cannons. No, I don't know the class of ship. I'd have to look into that if I'm being particularly honest. But I did do research about how ships work, and we did make a whole thing. Okay, hold on. Classes of ship. Here, you talk about Sinet, Mars.
Introduce Sinet.
Yeah.
So this is Sinet. He is the resident medic and gardener on the crew. He is based off the... I want to make sure I'm getting the name right, Ori. Is it spotted shark?
Bamboo
Spotted
shark.
Bamboo
he's a bamboo shark, or he's a walking shark.
Okay, walking shark. That's what I was thinking of. Oh, bamboo shark or the walking shark? Oh, another aquatic / jungle creature. Oh no, not walking sushi.
No!
No.
He's not sushi. Don't eat him.
Ori,
Really
Oscar
cute
is
art,
an
wouldn't it, though?
octopus. We should have expected
This is
this.
very true. That would make really, really cute art, though, wouldn't it?
That would. That honestly would. I could see that being a little OG or plus.
Classes of ships, and they just give me really, really modern battleships, and it's very difficult to decide.
Jamie, if you could somehow make a list, because I don't think
of a list? I'm trying really hard.
I don't think we're gonna find it on our own.
Nice bucket of milk, very nice.
But Sinet is actually one of the newer members to the crew. And when I say new, he has been with them for a while, but he was the last to be taken in, essentially. So he's a bit of the baby of the group.
Okay, and then
Sinet. So it's spelled like this, Oscar.
Like that. How many sails and a mast? It has... Now I have to look at my own shit. Hold on. You're asking all these questions. No, it's good. They're good questions.
It did look like a standing shark bucket of milk.
Okay. Here is Aster. While I freaking find this. And then, last but not least, this is Aster. Aster's the cook of the ship, the big brother. He's very large.
Yeah, I was about to include that. The big brother of the group.
The literal big brother, though, he is very large. Like,
yes.
Physically
large.
He is very
He is
tall.
the tallest out of all the cast. He's very, like I was saying earlier, he's very stoic. He speaks in very short sentences.
Got one
he
mast.
doesn't need to say much to get his point across. Like a big brother in a large family, he knows the importance of saying what you need to say in as few words as possible.
Okay, here's the ship, Jamie. Maybe this one's a better one. Hold on.
Oscar, if you feel protected, we've done our jobs right.
It's got one mast with 2 sails on that mast, and plus these 4 ones. And it's got 2 cannons. It's on the larger side, but it's not massive. It does have a crow's nest.
Yeah, definitely not huge. And there have been modifications to it to accommodate the
heavily heavily modified. So think of it as it started out as a ship, and then Ferrix essentially had his way with it.
it started out as a ship for humans, and then Ferrix came along and said, yeah, I can fix that.
But
So we got some rails for him
yeah.
to run
so it's
on.
definitely not massive. It's not a like
places
gigantic because it is a small crew, you know.
Yeah.
It is a small crew.
The crew consists of 4 people plus Hotzen now. So it doesn't need to accommodate a lot of people. And that is for a reason.
Look, I found sailing
Sailing.
ships.
Sailing ships.
Okay.
Shelling.
I'm looking.
Well, there are
at
four cannons on board Oscar, but ammo can be hard to come by, so they need a way of getting some. I wouldn't say this is for one bullet you can buy 2 pizzas, but it's
I would
a similar
say
situation.
it's closest to a Carrack. Carrack.
Carrack.
Well, it
Hold
says
on, I want to look
four-masted.
that up.
It doesn't look
Say that again?
4-masted in the one I saw. Hold on. The one I saw was not 4-masted. Maybe is this 2-masted? Does this front thing count as a mast? See, I gotta say,
I got Carrack chai tea, so I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
no. I definitely didn't look that hard into ships, Jamie. But also, this might change since we haven't fully seen the ship yet. You might have spurred me into go down way too much of a rabbit hole. I think I'd rather keep it 1-masted though.
Sometimes it's also for simplicity's sake,
Yeah,
as well. We don't want to kill Ori with
die.
What
is this thing?
It's fascinating because
Definitely
while I
a mix
do
of stuff.
like the ship when you're on board needs to have a very specific look because it is collar centric. I'm like, the outer appearance doesn't need to look too much like something real. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, sure, Jamie. That works. It's a cutter.
sure.
It's a modified cutter. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah, like an old one. Yeah, I see it.
At least it ended up being a name I can remember.
Yeah, with forward facing. There's like a naval sail with a naval cutter has a square topsail hoisted. Yeah, it does look like a cutter. It definitely. Yeah, some of these shapes definitely fit the vibe more just with the front facing one. This kind of fits the vibe. Honestly, might add this fin thing on the back here. I do like it.
The fin thing is kind of
It
cool.
is subject to
like
change,
that.
Jamie. We haven't nailed it down that hard yet, so thank you.
Mostly because it hasn't been focused on yet.
Yeah. The first time we thought about it was solely literally for that opening, and I kind of was just like, this is good vibe. So I do appreciate it. I probably would have looked into it eventually, but I do like that, so it probably will.
A Panzer Kampfwagen?
That definitely sounds like a German thing.
Definitely.
It's a tank. Yep, okay, that's what I thought. Panzer tanks. What construction method? I don't know what the construction methods are.
Ferrix.
Well, he didn't make it.
Lapstrake or Cavill? Wow, I'm learning so much about ships I did not know.
Jamie, why do you know so much about ships? Just a hobby? Or you sail? Lapstrake. Clinker built boat. Thank you, definition.
You must have done a lot of research into this, Jamie.
Oh, you built one. Nice. That's neat. Steel plank secured with nails. Such at the bottom edge.
Was it when you had to race in a competition, or I'm so curious the context behind this.
We'll get there. horn-shaped arms. Here we go. This one.
This just turned into us going
I found
down
it! I figured it out! Thank you,
Did it
Wikipedia,
fail,
finally!
I'm waiting in suspense, Ori.
I think I'm going to have to say it's a Carvel. It's Carvel built.
Now, what's the difference?
So, one has like So the Carvel allows bigger ships to be built, but because the way that you have to fasten the clinker is like you lay it on top of each other, like one card on top of each other, one plank on top of each other, and you nail it in. But then the sagging force, especially with cannons on it, you gotta watch the sagging force with cannons, would essentially pry off all the boards and open it up. So Carvel built is where they're fastened to a frame where it makes this sort of smooth surface. And so they're, and then it's like sealant, which they would definitely use. Good night, Bucket of Milk. Thank you for joining us. Always appreciate it. Glad you stuck around too.
Happy to have you tonight. Thank you for joining and sticking around.
And it allowed bigger ships to be built. So I would definitely say it's Carvel, because 1, it was a military ship, 2, it does have cannons, and 3, they would definitely have to replace the resin, which I can see as being a thing with trees. So multiple fun things.
Yeah, that checks out. That checks out.
I don't have Sea of Thieves, Oscar. My apologies.
Nor do I, unfortunately. Maybe someone in chat does.
Well, there you go. See, Jamie's getting us to get the hard questions in here. I'm gonna have way too much boat knowledge after this. No, never too much. She looks so cool for the aesthetic.
That's where Ferrex comes in. Once he adds all his touches, it's way more aesthetic looking.
Well, I'm sorry, Jamie. It was just more practical that they had cannons and that they have all this weight on it.
Yeah, so that's one question answered. Any others?
Yes.
Gotta say, this is fun.
Many questions. Always questions. We love questions. How did I draw Milano's Look at No?
Well, that is always a question. But yeah, any writing questions? Any questions about the comic itself? It is out.
It is out, and you should read it. I think everyone else here has read it by now.
Yeah, probably.
Where is Chat Noir?
Chat Noir is in
not
his
in
own
this
universe.
He is he's a character Oscar from a show that's called Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir. The Tale of Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir. It was fun. It's not a good show in my opinion anymore, but it, it was a kid show always. It kind of had a sad problem. But the reason I draw him, he doesn't look like he should have normal human feet and arms and ears and everything like that, because he is just a human. And then he transforms into this cat superhero, which is really just spandex. It's not really like, it is magic, but it's more Sailor Moon type stuff. It's not like it's just spandex. It's a costume. Thank you. That's the word I want. And so he doesn't have any actual cat parts.
He doesn't turn into a cat.
I decided in, I think it was 2018, that I would make a conscious attempt to redraw something that I've drawn before every year, because and one of the artists that's a big inspiration to me, she would do that every year with Rapunzel from the movie Tangled, and I really liked that idea, so I tried to find a drawing that I had just naturally drawn, like a character that I had naturally drawn multiple years in it. He does, yeah, extra shit, double as shitty. It's not even fur on it.
There is no fur. It's just shiny plastic.
It's just latex, spandex, and leather. Horrible breathing.
You can make action figures out of, though.
But and what I had found is that I had sort of just naturally drawn Cat Noir for like 3 years in a row before 2018, and so he had the oldest sort of like run that I could do. So I did that, and so I drew him in 2018. Drew him in 2019. In 2020, I really didn't want to draw him. The show had been kind of going downhill. I hadn't really been watching it. I wasn't really into it anymore. And I just really didn't want to draw him. But I sort of had an epiphany where I was like, and we had started the comic at this point, obviously. So I sort of had an epiphany on how I like to draw characters. Yeah, that is what it is, Jamie. You're right. That's unfortunate, but you are correct. And so I drew him as like a, yeah, there you go. So I drew him with cat legs and, you know, the arms and everything, kind of like Ferrex. You know, that sort of amount of, you know, change there. Animal parts. What?
If the show were braver and just went the whole way with it.
I mean, give me a man with the cat legs. Okay. But was very, very happy there. It's not built in right away, Jamie, and you kind of have to know if you have to know. Yeah, sorry, Oscar. You should be ready for that sort of shit. I know you can handle it. I know what memes you like, so we're good.
Oscar, you'll live. You'll be fine.
But oh, I love our chat. But yes, that's not a problem. But yeah, so I drew him that way, and then in 2021 I did my first digital art of him, and then in 2022 I did the one that you've seen most recently. But that's why I draw a Cat Noir. I don't actually watch the show anymore. I don't know. He's not my character, but he just happened to be this sort of thing that I had been into for long enough period of time that I had organically drawn him, and you know, he's just sort of the mascot of the redraw now. That's the vibe, Jamie. The amount of like you have to be ready to like go in and just concerning. That's why you curate things like Tumblr down to a very specific niche of things.
Oh yeah. Can't be too careful
little
with that.
Cats. But yeah. So that's sort of the story of that. It just sort of fell into place that way, that he's like the oldest sort of every year thing that I can show. Unlocked a memory.
Oh jeez.
Oh, we go deep. Deep
we
lore.
really are.
Deep Oscar lore.
We're bringing out memories and all kinds of things. Holy crap.
This.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I haven't yet said about pacing, because we've talked about how genre can dictate pacing. We've talked about how characters can determine pacing. We've talked about how the reader themselves can choose your pacing.
Choose your own pacing.
Choose your own pacing. Flip to page 9.
That's the dream, Jamie. They're just... Okay, Jamie, this is my toxic trait. My toxic trait is the I could do that myself, so I won't pay anybody for it. And even though I, like, as a conscious, like, logical thinking human, understand how that I would not do it good the first time, I can't...
You still want to do it.
Yeah, like, there's still the desire in me that I want to try, and thus I never want to, I never want to buy one. It's this very vicious cycle of, like, they're really pretty, but I just can't do it, because I can't justify spending that much money.
I am just blown away by the amount of creativity and work that goes into each one.
I can imagine, Jamie.
It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. I have watched tons of compilations of, like, how much time and effort, like, people put into it, and it's just, like, there's still that part of me that I'm like, yeah, I could do that.
I remember going to a rent fair, and there were furries there too. I believe they were dressed as wolves, and they also had like armor and everything on. And I'm like, holy crap, that's a ton of work.
Hello, baked potato days.
It's like you wear for
one hi, Anima.
Amazing. Hey,
Thank you for the
Emma!
raid. How was stream?
Oh my
Nice.
God. Hope stream went well tonight. Hi, Baked Potato Days. Welcome, welcome.
I have a mana kit that I really like, Jamie, but I'd probably make a new Sona if I was actually gonna get one done. I don't even know if I have any images of my mana kit on here.
You're telling me you wouldn't try to cosplay Griffin?
So Griffin would be a cosplay. He wouldn't be a fursuit.
I mean, that's true. He doesn't have fur. He's got feathers, though. Do
Yeah,
feathers
but
count?
see, I could easily... Okay, this is the difference. I think I could very easily make like a hybrid suit, right? Like the way, like how Ferrex is, how Griffin is. Like, I think I could definitely do that. But if like for a full fursuit with the head, that's like a whole nother thing where it's like, oh god, sculpting the head. Yeah. I really liked mana kits a lot because honestly, there's some vibes. But I would probably make a new Sona if I was ever actually gonna get, because honestly the mana kit's pretty old.
Something special and exclusively just for this.
It would need to be way more ham at this point, if I'm being honest. I don't have a fursuit. I have a fursona.
Originally, Anima, we were talking about Chat Noir because Oscar wanted to know why Ori draws him all the time. So we went into the lore of that. And then we ended up talking about furries through that when we were making fun of his costume. And now we're on the topic of fursuits. That is how conversation has evolved.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
Be very proud, Oscar. This is quite the accomplishment.
Is it in this one? The problem is now I have to find it. Oh, there it is.
I'll be honest. I don't like Miraculous Ladybug. I didn't really bother to watch it. It wasn't my cup of tea. But I did always like Chat Noir.
He's the best by far, but he gets done so dirty, and it's just sad.
Oof. Dirtier than he already was?
Yeah, he's just constantly just you know, the background boy. It's very sad.
Ah. Poor Chat. Oh no, Oscar.
Oh, I have to go on the Discord on the computer to show my mannequin. That's where it is. I'm like, I sent it to myself. How do I show it from my phone? Because you don't. You sent it to yourself to show it from the computer, idiot. All right, this is my mannequin. This is from like 20. Yeah, there it says 2019. This is very old, and this is hand drawn. This is not digitally drawn. I do have a digital one, somewhere, and I don't remember where. And this is actually this mannequin, the shark part, is based off the same shark that Sinnet is, actually, because I love that shark. I love that shark shape very much.
We somehow came full circle.
Yes, I love that shark. Exactly. She has the tail. Love it very much.
She has the tail.
But yeah, at some point I would probably make a new one. Ah, yes, that did also happen. Yeah, we have our comic outfits on now, Anima. We made them for the launch, and then now we use them every time. You have a noob soda. You do, PC.
We couldn't just have Ori make these and then never use them again. It would have been criminal.
The pan colors are just a coincidence. My flag is the ace flag, so very different colors. They're just pretty colors that go well together. They just go well together. The pans chose good color palette.
An ace
thank you,
one
Jamie.
now.
I do have a close. I think it's not. I think the colors aren't ace. The colors are NB with the yellow, right? I think that. I don't know where it is. You know, it's one of those like. I could maybe find it. Lemon. I think her name was Lemon Soda.
You really liked your sodas, huh?
Well, okay, the person who got me really hardcore into the furry fandom was, in the furry community, is Pokari Roo on YouTube, if anybody knows them. So, oh yeah, I found it, Blackberry Lemonade. It's not fully the thing. Yeah, in a way, Oscar. Okay, I would like it to load. That'd be nice.
You recognize Pokari.
Yeah, see? Yes, I love Hikari. So this is the other one. This one's based off a lemon shark because they're cute. So it's not exactly the same colors, but it's more purple and yellow and everything like that. So this is the other Manakit.
Adorable.
Yeah, so Manakits are like shark dogs, shark wolves. Their eyes are always closed because they're blind. They don't. Well, they're not fully blind, but they're medically classified as blind. They don't see very well at all, and so their eyes are always closed. Very fun.
It just gives them such a cute expression.
Yes, God, the amount of times you hear fursuiters talk about how freaking hot they are, it's like you'd think it'd be a deterrent, but God, do I just want to method act real bad. And that's like the way to do it. You get in a fursuit, you just are that character. It just looks so fun in the end.
I've experienced some similar. I've never done a fursuit, but I have done cosplay a lot of times. So I go contacts because I don't want my glasses, and I go for the wig with the wig cap and everything. It gets so uncomfortable, and I'm talking like when you've been at a con for maybe like 8 hours and you're just walking around, like your eyes start to dry out, your wig starts feeling extra itchy, you feel like the band of the hair cap like pushing against your forehead. It gets so uncomfortable, but you're like, I'm having such a good time being this character. I will suffer for the love of the art.
I would do that. Oh, lucky Jamie, nice. This is Marvel Soda's
pro Oscar.
Digital one. I knew I had one.
I think Marble Soda is my favorite.
That's
because I love her colors. They're so pretty. They're so vibrant. It fits the personality too.
Yeah, but I know very, very well what a hell this would be to make because of the spots, and so I'd probably have to do a completely different one. But
that would indeed be awful.
Yeah.
But man, would it look cool.
Would be very cool. It would probably be better to be airbrushed, but God, fursuit is one of those like dream things, right? It's one of those like
fur is
I would.
Fur
they're just
incredibly expensive.
You have to care for them. You have to it's there's so much that goes into them.
First you gotta buy it, then you gotta sew it, and then after you wear it,
Jamie.
there's all the maintenance that comes afterwards.
You gotta brush yourself constantly. Like I don't brush my dog as much as you have to brush your fursuit. Like damn, crazy. Yeah, that's what happens here, Anima. This is how it works.
Yeah.
My whole thing. Oh, we have to show Anima the Milano. It's only fair.
Do.
It's only fair.
You didn't see the Milano. Short hair and long hair.
Okay.
We also show off the
Hotsun.
Milano and Hotsun.
Yeah.
Well, the together one.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about. Anima, the beautiful, beautiful man.
Look at it. Short hair Milano. So beautiful.
I can't with everybody's reactions. It's too great. It makes me too happy.
Okay, you combined Wolfwood, who is very pretty, and Milano, who is very pretty.
They're both very
You
pretty.
broke the internet with this one, Ori.
I was honestly, I'm so
Hi.
happy. Everybody's reaction is just fantastic.
Hi, Magapiff. Well, we're showing off
Hello, Magapiff.
Milano
We're
from
showing
the
off beautiful Milano.
Trigun Stampede AU.
Milano is my favorite Oscar, and you can't tell anybody otherwise. I love Milano so much. But this is one with long hair. Yeah, honestly, Jamie had best reaction I could ever ask.
Ori is the friggin' clavicles on this man. Like, you just detailed them so much.
Beautiful.
I was like, he doesn't normally have that detailed clavicles, so it's like.
Well, I went into like a different sort of like shading style, so it's definitely different. Yeah, Milano is by far my favorite.
This
But
is my new phone wallpaper.
this is Milano as Wolfwood and Hotsun as Vash because they have the same.
They both have undercuts.
No, you know my
And
favorite.
I am starting to realize I have a type. I really like anime boys
Don't
with
come for
undercuts
me.
and or braids. I'm coming for myself.
You're coming for me too. No.
No, I'm coming for myself. Also, apparently,
favorite threat?
prosthetic arms are another one.
Yeah, you like the maintenance part though.
I guess so.
Because that's always the
It
best
really
dynamic. That's the best
The
dynamic of
vibe
it.
in fanfictions, okay? Having like the trusted friend or the significant other help the character with the prosthetic, like either detach or put it on. It is the ticket. It's a good fucking vibe, and I love it.
I love this one panel so much from.
Oscar, you quoted. That's amazing. You're a map reader.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good threat.
Ooh, I'll have to use that one.
I love this Milano very much. It's obviously not as like prettily shaded or anything, but I do enjoy this Milano a lot. It's a very nice Milano.
I love that expression there.
I love the pushing back the hair.
done.
It's just like nice.
He's so done with
Okay.
Hotsun in that moment.
He is very
Like,
done with
oh,
Hotsun.
dumb.
This is Ferrix. This is Ferrix
This
Magapiff.
is a pasta.
He's the first
or a-
mate.
Depending on how
Yeah.
you pronounce it.
Fusa. Da Fusa. As
I have heard
King
you say
Julian
pasta.
says.
Don't come at
Yeah,
me.
you can probably say it both ways. But I'll give
He's the
everybody
Group.
a little taste of the whatchamahoos, the St. Patty's Day art.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I have
This was
to make
actually-
sure for a moment though, so we need to not look at this for a second.
This is not D related, Magapiff. We're actually doing our comic corner where we talk about
Yeah.
our comic Outcast, all the work that went into it, different aspects of writing on my part, different aspects of art on Ori's part, stuff like that.
we were good. I didn't have to worry. I was concerned. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking lots of wrinkles, Jamie, and maybe a
Kind of
buzz.
skinny too.
I could see skinny, but I could also see like buzz cuts, so you get the peach fuzz on top of the head.
I see that.
Hotsun's the leprechaun.
There's one in here that is a doodle that we don't need to look at. But yeah, so we have this one.
I
And
really
then the
love
second half.
the dialogue for this one. This was super
So we have
fun.
little
Also, I just realized you turned Milano into James Hiller.
Yes, I did. I'm surprised it took you this long. He had to have the ponytail. It worked too well with the aesthetic.
He's
Okay.
also got the vest and the rolled up sleeves.
I
He
can't
really
choose
looks like
what.
James Hiller.
Do we want to see the Hotsun is not that bad. So okay, you're thinking too far about the Hotsun. The Hotsun is not that bad, but I don't. I don't. I didn't even want to show Mars. It's not that bad though.
What the hell happened?
It's the Hotsun that I showed you on the clover, like that one.
That was cute.
Okay, we'll show that one. It's this one. Nope, it's this one. There he is.
This will eventually be done in time for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, the whole thing will be done in time for St. Patrick's Day.
He's
There you
just-
go.
He's sitting on a little clover. What's so wrong with that? He's just a tiny little thing.
I don't have a folder here that's just pinup poses. No, I don't. No. What? Who? Me? No.
Ori, you're telling me you don't save fan art of your favorite characters?
Obviously. No, I just have like pinup little thingies. It's a kid show. Yeah, it's a kid show. It's more just like I don't draw that all the time, so it's very much just like so it's like it's very funny because the Milano when I'm drawing it I'm like this is nice. but like I wasn't expecting the reactions everybody gave, and I'm very flattered by it. But it's definitely like a this was unexpected.
No, everyone is very thirsty for Milano short hair.
Yeah, you know? I can't complain.
Gotta quench that thirst.
I can't complain. But it's definitely like a funny little like this was not the goal I expected. I was just like, he has to have short hair because Wolf would. And then
Jamie, you are not wrong.
No, okay, this is what I was talking about, what I was thinking about in the kitchen. That, yeah, Hosen's definitely bottom, Lana's top. Think of Ferric's switch, yeah?
Ferric's I could see as a switch.
Sinnet bottom.
Sinnet is totally
Aster is tough, in my opinion.
You know, Aster I could also
Milano
see as a switch.
I could see it, yeah.
Or a service type.
Everett bottom hardcore.
Oh, Everett is bottom. Everett is a bottom. The kid can't even control his own life.
No questions asked.
He's on the bottom.
It is Milano in general, though.
It really is.
The sense is, yeah. No, we say, you know, as the night gets later, the rating gets heavier. Stronger. Maybe that's.
I would say the filter starts slipping.
This filter goes away.
The filter.
Also, I'm gonna say it really depends on how you guys react. If I'm being completely honest.
Oh yeah.
The fact that you guys are into this discussion is the whole thing.
If you guys weren't into this discussion, we would probably not be going this direction, and Ori and I would just gush about it after stream.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true. Yeah, no, come on. If you didn't. The only one I could see being unsure would be Ferrix. Dylan thinks hardcore bottom, but it's gotta be Switch. I feel like he wouldn't.
No, I could see a Switch. I mean, we've certainly said it before on this channel.
We definitely curse. It's funny. I like watching our Ace Attorney streams back when I edit them because it's very funny to see how how annoyed or how into it we get. There's
oh yeah,
one.
The Von Karma case is where we curse the most.
Yeah, see, I agree, Jamie, 100%. But yeah, no, there was one Von Karma, I think it was the first court trial with Von Karma, and we got so pissed that there was 10 curses in this 15-minute segment.
Literally.
That was a lot.
Every other segment, every other word was just us cursing because of how much we hated Von Karma.
Yeah, we hate Von Karma. I also got really mad at Mars. Got mad at Lana. We got mad at Lana again. I got
crazy. Very mad at Lana. And then in our most recent case, Ori got mad at Lana.
Yes.
I think in the next game it's going to be Dylan's turn to get mad at Lana.
So what works very well, Oscar, and it's funny that you say that, Milano is very incredibly much the type that he doesn't realize how sexy he is and how flirtatious he just constantly is, and that's the best vibe in my opinion. But you know,
he's the guy who would yawn and put his arm over your shoulder and only mean that action.
Genuinely, as I yawned and stretched, and that was
I
it.
just yawned and stretched. Why are you looking at me like that?
Yeah, enthused, definitely. Dylan is sad that that he was only there for the one game, because Dylan was I was at my stride with Von Karma. I was going ham, he was doing all the lines and he had all these funny things.
Literally,
yeah,
Magapiff.
Exactly, Magapiff. Could see the scene. No, exactly. Milano is just oblivious to it, but it's just great. And then it's very much the host of being oh my god.
Jamie, I gotta know,
who
are you imagining him putting his arm around?
Well, I mean, I feel like that there'll be very few people that don't have the same ship as us, but I don't know. Yeah, see? There you go. Jamie knows what's up. No, I have a little dance.
It just explodes into a tomato.
I have a little dance one with them, which is honestly kind of the vibe.
Oh, Beauty and the Beast AU?
No, this
Or
is just the
one?
dance.
We have so many AUs, you guys.
Yeah, we have a problem. Oops, not that.
It's still so cute.
I know, but yeah, this is very much the vibe of like Lana's just like, yeah, we're dancing, it's a good time, and Hoten's like, oh god.
Hoten's like, I forgot how to move my feet.
Yep. And look, feet. All right.
Yes. You need feet to dance.
You know you're not crazy.
You're not crazy?
Me too. Do I show the vampire one, Mars?
You know what? Do it. We're already in so
We're
deep.
already in here. We're already in it. This one. So there was like we did Vampire and Vampire Hunter for Halloween, and so we got these little sketches because I'm bad. I'm bad. I'm very bad.
This is the first quote unquote sexy thing I've seen Ori draw. Like, Ori usually doesn't do this, you guys. I was very shocked when she sent this to me. So I was like, Ori, what possessed you? And then I realized Vampire Milano. So I was like, you know what?
Couldn't not.
I can't judge because had I had the ability, I would have done the same.
There you go. See? You just gotta live with it. You just gotta accept. I love it. I love it. It's the dynamic.
The dynamic is just too good.
The stuff I'm showing now is as explicit as it's ever gonna get though, because I'm like dying right now. Every time I show it to Mars, I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this.
But it's so good.
I know it's good. Obviously, I like it, but I'm like, because of it.
Like, people are saying this.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
well,
it's like
guess what? I'm like that every week when people read my freaking dialogue.
Seriously though, Enthuse, it's very much the like, oh my god, this is so scandalous, and I can't, but like I also want to show someone.
Someone looks at it and they're like, this isn't scandalous. This is vanilla as hell.
Yeah. To watch closer, yeah. So, very fun. We have fun little sketches and stuff because. Yes, this is my life.
Yeah, sometimes it's vibe.
Jamie, you feel like how I feel right now, okay? Because it's a very odd thing, Jamie. Because when I'm drawing it, it's not like I'm very much just like in the zone. I like listen to like people talking about like Reddit readings. Like that's essentially all I listen to when I do art is like people like reading Reddit stories and stuff, and I don't think about it, and then essentially I like come out of this like art trance, and I look back and I was like, oh, this is worse than I thought it was going to be, and then I don't show anybody for a while, and then I sit there and I go, oh, but it's really really good. Okay, I'll show Mars, and then Mars is like, oh my god.
No, half the time I reply, it's like all in caps, and you ever feel like you're running out of ways to express how excited you are through just text?
The Milano, the short hair Milano, like Wolfwood one, I was drawing it, and I definitely like had the same thing about the neck when I was like drawing it. I was like, oh, okay. Like I guess that's what it is, and I'm done. I'm just admiring like the art, because what I did is I actually did like a very different shading method than I normally do because I was trying to do like really fast. So I'm like sitting here, my skill is good because like my technical skill and whatever, and I was just having a good time. And then I showed it to Mars, and she had that reaction. And then I showed it to Dylan, and Dylan was like, "Damn, he's hot." And I'm like, okay, this is not what I expected, but I'm not upset. I'm not upset. And I'm definitely like, I'm just happy that the shading looks so good.
What made it even funnier, I don't go to bed
Jamie.
super early, but I'm usually in bed earlier than Ori. So by the time Ori's sending me this stuff, it's like 1
I
a.m.
like
or
spammed
something.
you last night.
You really
I had a
did.
problem. I had a problem.
I woke up at 7:40 this morning and I see I got like a billion messages on Discord. I'm like, oh, Ori must have been up to something last night. Like she usually sends me this kind of stuff when she draws something. Oh my god!
Yeah, I woke up to your messages, and it was like, oh, what is this? Then it was like, oh, okay.
Me so ready to reply to. You said I want you to respond to each and every one.
I did. I was like, don't skip any.
The one where you ragged on Wolfwood for wearing loafers in the desert. I died.
No, that's exactly what it was, Oscar.
No, literally, Oscar.
No, and I'm serious, Jamie. I appreciate it very, very much because it means a lot that, especially when I draw things that aren't like fully human, right, with the legs and stuff. It's like a Kaz complimented the other day about my animal legs with another artist, and I was like, oh, this is all I need in life is validation. And it's like, oh, thank you for seeing the technique as well. So no, I really do appreciate the next stuff. That was a weird thing to say. Don't take that out of context. Thank you.
Oh my god.
But yeah. I worked hard on his eyes. I like changed the color of them like 4 times, Jamie, so I'm glad you appreciate them. I also know your type now, Jamie. It was more just like I saw the fun consistencies between Vilros and Augustus, and I was like, ah.
Definitely, that character was giving me some good old-fashioned Dragon Prince vibes. So very nice choice. Very nice design indeed.
It's all the only through run now is freckles and messy hair. Those are the 2 through lines. And you know, I can't what dapper fellow? This one on the screen?
You Ferrex?
This is Ferrex. Yeah, so this is Ferrex. He is so you're actually gonna meet very briefly on Monday. Everybody is gonna start, so you are gonna start meeting them. This is Ferrex. This is Milano's first mate. He's modeled after a Fossa. He is the carpenter of the group, and it's a little nuts. He's chaos. What did Johnum call him? They are, Jamie. I'm not hacking it. I ain't hacking it at all. I love drawing it. You know, it's great, but it was definitely I see.
Jamie, I agree. Prompto from Final Fantasy is adorable. So freckles and messy hair are a selling point.
Well, Sinet has freckles. He doesn't have them yet because I didn't put them on. But
Sinet also doesn't have the messy hair. He's a poison.
He's a bit more Kim.
Little boy.
But this is Ferrex. Then we also have Aster, which is Big Brother vibes, and the cook, and he is after an albatross. And then this is Sinet, and he is sort of the medic and little garden boy, and he is modeled after a bamboo shark. That's everybody.
Medicine.
You can see them all enthused in the Discord in Comic Corner.
We have wikis for each
we only
and
have
every
wikis
one.
for the main character right now, but they are.
Oh, that's right. We didn't post the others.
No,
not until they debut, which happens soon.
But you can see them all in like hot off the presses. I draw them a lot and these sort of things. Yes, the albatross dance.
Clap, clap, clapping albatross wings.
No, I use
brush.
I use a splatter. It's called, what is it called? I think it's called Droplet. It's this brush. It's called Droplet, and then I just draw them over the face.
Ori already put so much work, so much blood, sweat, and tears into this. We're not going to make her count individual freckles.
I would if it was like specific for some reason, but since they're just like, no one else is gonna notice, so it's like whatever. Very
it's
soon,
not
Jamie.
A crucial detail.
Very soon, once everybody gets introduced, which is like 2 episodes from now, or something like that.
Yes.
You'll start getting their
I think
wikis
once
as well.
the hangout episodes begin, right?
Do we want to wait that long? Because they're introduced much
know.
sooner before that.
Maybe at the campfire then.
I would put Ferrixon on Ferrix's thing. He's got a whole episode to himself with Hudson, like, first, pretty early on.
He did dig a lot of lore.
Yes, lots of
A
lore.
lot of lore.
Mars and I had such a massive conversation about the lore on Monday. It was wild. We went ham.
Not even the lore, it was more just like the story beats and the
it is
direction.
lore. Is that not all lore in the end?
Technically, lore is more about the history of the world, how it came to
Alright.
be. That would fall more into the world building category.
Alright.
Do we need to hold a comic corner about lore versus plot?
I'll write it down. I won't say no. I know.
I don't know if
Jamie.
I could talk about that for 2 hours. There might
Maybe I'll
not be
convince
too much
Mars to do it sooner,
there.
Jamie. Yes, it is, Oscar.
It is, yes.
It is. So Milana would call it like a lemur frog, but it's a lemur rana because lemur is the genus and rana is the frog genus, and so that's why Hotsun calls it a lemur rana, because he decided to give it a scientific name because that's how science works, because he found it first. Technically, there's a lot
And
more
he's
steps that go
science.
into it that involve getting a specimen that is dead, but we didn't want to deal with that.
We didn't want to kill the little
No.
Limerana. That's too mean. That's
That's-
just not how science works in this world.
You got a point.
That's true. But it hasn't happened yet, so it's still plot.
So,
I don't know if that needs a translation.
yeah, do you have
because
a word
it's
for
a
lemur?
scientific name.
Oh, the body parts in it? You did well. I was impressed that you did that, Oscar. Very
yeah.
impressed. Very, very impressed. I'm almost done with those, so they will come out on Monday with the new one in English, so that's how we'll do it.
Yes. So it's going to be a big release on Monday.
Yeah, and Rana is frog, so it worked out on that one. La Rana.
Indeed.
But yes. Alrighty. I have no other spicy art to show. That's it. It's very, very few. The well is dried because
Oh,
the first one is from October of 2022, so very little time.
I may have exhausted
Aw,
the
Jamie.
pacing topic. I don't
Oh,
know.
that's fine.
I don't know how much more I could talk about that. I think I covered pretty much everything, unless anyone has specific questions.
Or questions about anything else as we wind down here. Honestly, I'm
Yeah,
too
we could
hyper
take-
now. Everybody had such a nice
Nope.
reaction. It was
Yeah,
so
nope.
fun.
No
I'm so
spicy
happy.
fan art will do that to
Oh,
you.
It was more like everybody just liked it so much. It felt nice. I was just so happy. You know? It all worked out. Noop indeed.
Ah, there's the noob.
Got the little noop. You're very close, PCM. You're very, very close to that 35.
Ooh. Okay. How do you make a slow-paced story interesting? Well, I think the first thing, Jamie, and this is something I was kind of emphasizing all the way back in the beginning of this, is make sure something is still happening. It doesn't have to be that something monumental happens. Like I'm thinking of, oh, okay, here's a good example. So I just started watching The Last of Us. Like literally today I started watching. And there are some parts where the show is kind of slow. Like for example, we might have an action scene where they're trying to escape a hostile group, and then they're just kind of chilling in the building for a little bit, and that goes on for like maybe 10-15 minutes. Now that's a long time
That is true.
without anything to break it up. what they do during a specific scene, and this is just to give an example to emphasize my point, they have the characters just kind of talk to each other. And it's not even like important stuff right away. It starts out with one of the characters getting the other to open up by telling a very lame dad joke. But it works, and that's what gets the ball rolling to start talking about deeper, more character-related things. Some of which get an answer, and some of which the character responds with, I don't want to talk about that. So, even though nothing monumental is happening in that scene, there's still character being developed. There's still a connection being forged. We see these characters opening up with each other. And we also see there's a little bit of a mystery going on. Like, we know this character did something, I guess, really traumatizing for a girl her age, but she doesn't want to talk about it. So there's a little mystery surrounding what she did that gives the audience something to think about. So to make a a long response to your question short, Jamie, just make sure something is happening to keep the reader, watcher, whoever it is, engaged. Make sure you have those character interactions. Make sure you have something moving the plot forward. It doesn't have to be big steps. It could be baby steps too. That's kind of something we do in our comic as well, like with the campfire scene. The entry is literally just Hotsun moving from the tree to the campfire. It's quite literally baby steps. But let me know if that answers your question.
You remembered a dad joke, Oscar?
A dad joke or the dad joke from the show, Oscar?
Oh. Who knows?
Because it did make my dad laugh. So it is a certified dad-approved dad joke.
I saw a comic, and like a little, short little comic, and it was essentially like a guy, and he told a dad joke, and everyone in like at work, and all the other guys are laughing, and then one guy is just like, so how old are your kids? He's like, I don't have any kids, and they're like, how dare you leave the dad jokes to us? You can't take those from us. They're ours. They're ours. If you don't have kids, you can't tell dad jokes.
Illegal.
It's just very funny.
Oh my
God, it was just
hilarious.
like came out of nowhere sort of thing. Definitely got the rule of comedy of like the unexpected. It was very funny.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
Great. You'll never earn access. Technically, Dylan won't earn access to the dad jokes either, but he doesn't want to. He thinks they're low-hanging fruit. You just make a higher tier pun, and they're no longer dad jokes. They're like they're educated puns, I guess, and then you can succeed. When I pick the low-hanging fruit of puns, Dylan gets sad. He doesn't laugh.
I feel like dad jokes evolve into weird uncle jokes.
There you go. That's the ticket.
There's a trajectory.
No. Oscar.
Oh, PCM, don't cry.
Ooh.
You have something better. You have nerd jokes.
I'd love to see that, Jamie. It's always great.
Ooh. You're gonna draw? Go for it.
It's always fun.
Indeed.
I
find
can have
drawing
more
very nice.
drawing comic corners if we want. You do have a noob to mess with. No pressure, no pressure.
Ah, no pressure at all. This is a safe.
I inspired Johnum to get back into drawing, so it's just inevitable. I'll get everybody.
Really will. Oh God. Ori, what the hell?
It's the magic.
That's what we're calling it?
Yes. It's past midnight. Don't question me on things now, okay? This is not the time.
I very much am.
You always play like you don't understand. I was definitely not good at the beginning. It just takes time and practice.
You gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start
Trust
somewhere.
me, no one starts out being good right off the bat. My first story I ever wrote, horrible, contrived, basically inspired by various things I have seen that may have resembled the things I had seen a little too closely. It was horrible.
I had like
But gotta start somewhere.
I had an art something. I don't know if I would call it wasn't like a camp, but I did like there's an art building
Ooh.
like institute near Mikasa, and it's very much like I definitely took classes there once upon a time when I was very young, and I still have that very young sketchbook, and honestly real not good. Okay. Let's see if I can really quickly find the oldest art that I can find.
Now this will be interesting.
I believe it is in this sketchbook. Oh, it's actually not, because this is a different one. It's still very old, though. Wait, do I have anything that says the year on it in here? Nope, no year there. Okay, I don't know what year this is from. The Forbidden Text. Pretty funny looking soda can. That's a vibe. Took an art class for 2 weeks in high school. The first art class... So I took an art class when I was very young. We're talking like single digits. That was at that school thing. That was like a fun little kids thing. And then I didn't take any other art class until college. Yeah, this is not the oldest sketchbook.
Oh, damn.
Definitely doodle somewhere else. A lot of like journals and stuff. Yeah, I don't know where the oldest one is. This one's pretty old. That is true, Jamie. The class...
I think it very much depends on like how the class is taught and how the teacher chooses to teach, because I very much ended up in the same position. I did do a art class over the summer back in middle school, and it was basically, here's some charcoal, you're going to be doing some live still lives this week, figure it out. And I was like, well, mine looks like shit. Why can't I make it pretty like yours? And the answer was, no, you're not doing this for a grade, so just hand it in. Which wasn't incredibly encouraging.
We want to see some cringy art of Dylan.
Oh my god, yes.
You get two options. You get okay, I'm gonna give you two options. There's two options of the cringiest art I found in this book, okay? I'll take a picture and we'll show it on the stream. You either get to see cringy art of me being like a dragon in multiple forms. There's 4 forms. There's me as a person, me as part dragon, me as scaly dragon, and then me as full dragon, and then another me as part scaly dragon. Or you get Dylan, those are colored. Or you get Dylan uncolored but lined as Dylan, Wolf Dylan, and kind of more Wolf Dylan. You get 2 options. You could only see one.
I'm leaning toward Dylan, honestly. I've never seen that.
They're both bad. You gotta pick one. I'll only show one. We'll save the other one for another time. Look, happy
do
200
agree,
followers. This is what we're doing. Dylan.
Alright, they're saying Dylan.
Mine's also voted for
I'm
Dylan.
thinking Dylan has it.
Let's hit Dylan. Okay. I don't... When is this from? This is like from... Not 2010. Is it from like 2000?
Oh man, that is long
No, it's
ago.
not 2010. It's like 2013?
That's still long ago.
I think it's 2013, 2014. I've known Dylan for 8 years. That's good math. So 2014. Because it's December. So I've known him for 8 years. So it would be 2014. Right? That's the math. Yeah. Because it would be December this year would be 9 years. So that would be 2014. Right? I think that's how that math works out. There you
I think
go.
so.
This is 8-year-old art. Because this is definitely early in our relationship. When Dylan mocked me not drawing feet so much that I drew feet to spite him, and he still tries to take that as a win. It's not a good win.
What was it? Did you draw like Fire Emblem block feet?
No, I just cut it off at the legs. And he said that because I just didn't want to, it's all for fun. And then he told me that they looked like I had ripped them off.
He pushed you to do more.
Dylan and I are soulmates. There's no doubt about that. If Dylan couldn't deal with my cringy art, we wouldn't be here right now.
This is how you find your soulmate, kids.
Okay. You find your soulmate by viciously attacking him by booping him when someone else did it first and failed, and you had to prove a point because he was too cocky. Alright. I'm sending the Wolf Dylan pictures to myself, and then we will see them. Alright. They're not colored, remember.
I agree, Jamie.
I appreciate that. Oh no, GCM no. Or you would end it. Also acceptable. Also acceptable. Both are good, Alright. Let's look at my personal only me Discord where I can show all the cringe stuff. Okay, here we are. Let us begin on this cringe. We'll open it in the browser so you can get a better picture of it. There it is. It's better. You can see the cringe more thoroughly. Okay, there it is.
Oh my.
This is 8-year-old art. That's the first one. I said it was bad. Yes, he has glasses. Dylan has glasses.
We all
can't
have
wear
glasses.
contacts. So this is so we have full human Dylan. This is Ragnell. Okay, can I be such a nerd? So this is Ragnell. This is Ike's sword. I made Dylan, Ike's sword, Ragnell, life size out of perler beads.
Holy shit.
Part of that process of the incredibly long hours of that process that it took, he ran into it and knocked it over and scattered a good large portion of it. Yeah, I probably have pictures of that too. A good large portion of it onto the floor. And I cried real hard. However, because in doing so he cut his knee open, he can proudly say that it got blood, sweat, and tears put into it. But I cried so hard. I had spent hours on that. I was so upset with him. Goodness gracious.
Oh, jeez.
Alright. So we got that. We got this one. We got one more. So we have partial Wolf Dylan. And then we have... can I open image? Here it is. And we have, furry Wolf Dylan. These are notes to myself for when I do it again, which I obviously never did. Yeah, there we go. Ta-da!
Ah,
There's my cringy.
the transformation is complete.
Ah, yes, I do have Ragnar. I also have the octopus I knit him. I do a lot of things. My love language is gift giving by like a lot.
You
honestly
are very
afraid
well
to draw
rounded.
Dylan,
You are a
if I'm
woman
being
of
honest.
many talents.
Thank you. I'm honestly afraid to draw Dylan. Not because he wouldn't like it, just because I feel like I wouldn't like capture it, you know?
He does have an essence that's hard to achieve with pen.
Yeah. There's Ragnar. Oh, you can't even see it on the whole thing.
Damn!
There's Ragnar. That's my phone. That's a Galaxy S3, I think.
Yeah, that's as big as your table. Holy crap!
Yeah, well, we had to put it on this board here. So that's the table thick-wise, right? Not long-wise, but it hangs off the table in thickness.
And this is the one that broke?
So before it was finished, he ran into it and he knocked over the handle part almost completely, because these are a bunch of these like peg boards like stick together. And yeah, and he ran into this corner, this bottom corner of it down here, and he jarred it. And my parents, God bless them, spent hours with me to put it back together. After we were done hanging out that day, because I was so upset. They were very nice, so kind to me.
When you just want to make your boyfriend a cool sword, but then he runs into it.
Yes. Okay, and then we can show the one octopus that's not on my head. Boop. Send. Alright, and last but not least...
Man, you're making me want to dig out my old perler beads now.
Yeah, I got too much there. No, Dylan didn't help put it back. I didn't want him touching it again. He doesn't have the... He didn't at the time have the dexterity for it. Now he paints Warhammer 40k models, so he probably could help me now. No. You'll see my face. I mean, my face has been out and about, and you'll see it eventually when I do those tree videos next month.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, this was before it was stuffed.
Happening.
This is 3 feet long. Yeah.
Damn, girl.
I spent many hours doing this. Very fun. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you don't mind me, I'm gonna go start crafting because I feel severely inexperienced now.
You do enough of the cosplay stuff. It's fine. Yeah, 3 feet. 3 feet is like a meter. Yeah, roughly, Oscar. Yeah. That's what they taught us in Ace Attorney.
That's true.
But yeah.
Look at that. Video games.
Yeah, it's a life-size octopus. No, Jamie, I just, like I said before, I am toxically DIY. I have... I'm well, it's to a point where I'll never, like, I won't buy certain things, or like my dream is to renovate a house, you know, sort of thing, where it's like I could do it all myself, even though I know it's very hard. But unfortunately, I don't have once I got like really into art like I am now. It's definitely like whatchamahoos. I definitely have less time for it, but you don't really forget, Jamie. I'm not like... I'm somebody that's able to sit down and do this. That, it was in a car. You saw the octopus was in a car because that was 12-hour one-way drive to North Carolina. That's when I spent a lot of time doing that.
I am amazed you can knit in a moving car.
What? That's not hard. But the amount of unfinished projects are much, much more than the finished ones. And I have way too big aspirations. I have a incredibly long Easter table runner that I still haven't finished. Yeah, I know. It does. It does.
True.
wild.
Damn.
That's pretty wild, Jamie.
It's never too late to get back into a hobby.
Yeah, if you like doing it. Yeah, I have to sew that. I have an apron that's fully cut out the pattern-wise. I just have to sew it together. I have a cloak that's fully cut out the pattern-wise. I just have to sew it together. Yeah, I have a lot of things. But I actually plan to do a lot of sewing this weekend because my tomorrow opened up, so I can do... Was it in home ec? Did you make the pillow in home ec?
That's always the best place for it.
Well, I had a, making the fairy tale posts. We made it at art camp, I see.
Ooh.
My family is very crafty. My mother was into scrapbooking, you know, so I, like, went to her to literal scrapbooking conventions when I was young. So we have a lot of craft stuff. My grandmother taught me how to knit. My other grandmother taught me how to sew. My mother taught me how to crochet. Nobody taught me how to draw. My uncle is very good at painting, though, and I have this very pretty thing with my name on it that has these very pretty painted flowers that he did at a workshop. So he's actually been a pretty good artist. I have a lot of musicians in my family, an incredible amount of musicians in my family. It's kind of weird. Because it means that if you're a musician and you live relatively close to me, you probably know one of them. Really quick, funny story. Dylan knew my aunt and uncle before he knew me because he was friends with people who knew them through playing music together. And he dated their daughter, not my aunt and uncle, the friends. Isn't that wild? It's a small world after all. Yeah, so he swam in my aunt and uncle's
when you
pool.
live in a small town.
It's not. We don't live in a small town though. Everybody just knows people. That's the difference. We very much don't live in a small town, Mars. Don't even trip.
It feels small with how people know each other.
God, do they know each other? Because people don't leave. That's why. It's because they don't leave. You know. But
is it Oscar? I'll have to make note of that.
But yeah, so Dylan swam in my aunt and uncle's pool before he ever knew who I was, and while he was dating somebody else. I just think that's such a wild story to me. But
mind blown.
Mind blown indeed. It is wild. It gets me to this day still. Very wild. And I gotta tell you guys, the perler beads are just following like outlines. I think Ragnell was the first one where I didn't like follow someone else's perler bead thing first. Before that, all my perler bead art was just me like looking at like other people's perler bead art and literally copying it.
Preferences.
Yeah, no. I'm talking like I would look at it and I would like count the beads and I would like literally copy, like place the beads in the same spot.
Oh no, I did the same. That was like the only way you were gonna get something you actually liked.
Ragnell was the first where I took a image of Ragnell that wasn't perler beads and I made it out of perler beads. So that was the first one there.
Now that's impressive.
But then I never did it again. That one I guess broke me a little bit now.
I
also have like
traumatized.
Kirby's and stuff in here. I have a mini Sigalith because I love Sigalith. Out of mini perler beads, which I learned about in college. Man, I can't do watercolors. Watercolors are impressive. I've tried watercolors. I'm not good at watercolor. Like gouache.
I have tried it myself.
My favorite Pokemon enthuse. Second is Snorlax. First is Sigalith. I love Sigalith. Lots of
Very
animals.
good picks.
They're a good time. Aquarela.
Aquarela. I like that. That's pretty.
Alrighty. But yeah, I think that'll be it for tonight. We definitely stayed longer, but we had fun.
We definitely went over time. But we had a good time doing it.
We had a good time doing it. Well, we started late.
Never
you
a
know,
bad
we
thing.
had more fun doing the Gartic show. So all this sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
I think we'll have to do that again. People seem to really get
Yeah.
into it. We'll
I
add
might
to
do
the
it more
list.
than Gartic Phone, if I'm being honest. I liked that more than Gartic Phone. I just think it's more engaging. If I'm being
I
honest.
think people were able to interact a bit more, so maybe
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We will see how it goes. Yeah, exactly. That's why you need special paper, Oscar. But
Exactly.
yeah, we have of course
With that,
Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, it makes sense, Oscar. We'll have Drawing and Dragons on Sunday, where I will be drawing the player characters of Mars, well, not Mars, but Fuel King and Dylan as their tarot cards. Oh, and our other table member.
yes.
And I'm so sorry, PCM. I know they changed. My apologies. It's because we much prefer Ace Attorney on not a Sunday, and that's just how life is. I'm very sorry for that. You're welcome
It'll
to tell your
probably
stories in
change again once
Campfire in
summer
the
hits.
Discord, though. So we'd love to hear from them there.
Yeah, I still want to hear about Neffy's adventures, her trials and tribulations.
And
Oh, we'll do that from now
deal.
on.
Remind me, Jamie. If you're there,
I'll-
remind me.
I'll remind
Okay,
you.
Mars can remind me too. Yeah,
I'm there by
remind me.
default.
We'll keep remind me. It's literally 90% of the time I don't raid people is because I literally forget. But thank you for reminding me, because maybe if the person I'm thinking is still around and on, we'll raid them.
Yeah, I think we should return the favor tonight. We got 2 raids. I think we should pay
Yes.
it forward.
Ooh, we can raid Hans.
Yes, let's do it.
Gonna raid Hans. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you hopefully on Sunday, or you watch PCM on Sunday. And new comic episode comes out
More
Monday.
good times.
So look forward to that. We get to meet our crew members for the first time, briefly.
Yes.
And
I'm
have
so
a great
excited.
time. Also, on Monday, yeah, I know, Oscar, we're pretty cool. Also on Monday, the Spanish translation of Outcast will be coming out, translated by our one and only Oscar. Very nice of them to do so. And so you can find it there too. We'll put links to that as well if you want to just take a look at that. I think it's pretty interesting whether you can read it or not, but if you can, and that's preferable for you, that'll be great.
Awesome, gotta say.
All right, guys, we're gonna raid Hans here, and they're talking about DMing stuff and D&D stuff. Well, Oscar, you'll find more people that speak Spanish by having the comic in Spanish.
Yeah.
Should speak Spanish. Oh, chat should speak Spanish. I'll try to speak Spanish in chat. That could be interesting. All right, guys. We'll see you on Sunday, hopefully. Good night. Have a nice Friday.
Night all. Thanks for joining us.